There's nothing electrical there, and yet the K2 meter, which picks up electronics or ghosts, as we in the paranormal world believe, it was going off and no explanation. So I hung her up in a good spot there, and I gave her a little time to, I like to give them time to settle in before I start going at them with questions and all.
Right.
And the first EVP I did on video, hoping I could catch the painting, moving or something. And in the video, it's on my YouTube page. I asked her, what's her first name? She says, Hilda. I said, what's your last name? She said, Michaelsford, very clearly on the spirit box that I was using. That's that little box we use in the paranormal investigations. It looks like a little radio, and it makes white noise. It scans, I think, 5 radio stations per second.
And if you want one, it's called an SB7. And they're pretty effective.
Yes. And she was speaking to us. She said, Hilda, and then she said, Michaelsford. And I asked her, this part that gave me the willies. I said, how did you die? And her full sentence response, you'd have to find my body. That just gave me the chills when I heard that.
Well, it gave me the chills the first time I heard you tell that.
Yeah.
Still does.
And it wasn't, I noticed she didn't say like she wanted me to go, I didn't feel like she wanted me to go hunt her body. It was just like, I don't know, you'd have to find my body. So whatever it was, I think something happened to her accidentally. Whatever it was, she wasn't expecting it, and she doesn't know what happened. Somebody might have killed her, or some accident might have happened. But I don't know. She hasn't answered. And I thanked her for being there. She said, thank you so much, very sweetly. And I think I asked her one time why she was with the painting. Did she own it? But she didn't answer. So I still don't know why she's with it. Maybe she owned it before. I don't know. But she's a little bit of a housekeeper. She hangs near my sofa, and I've got some pillows I put on the sofa when there aren't guests that are over. And one evening I was laying there, and I kind of pushed the pillows off on the floor, and it got late, and I went to bed, and I was expecting company the next afternoon after work. And when I got up, I noticed I left the pillows on the floor, and I was in a hurry. I left, didn't touch them. I come back that afternoon from work, and the pillows are back on the sofa, and not just on the sofa, but they're positioned one on each side, and they're angled like somebody took time to step back and look at it. And
I never get those spirits in my house. That's not what shows up here.
I knew. I said, it's got to be Hilda, because at the time I only had child spirits, and she was my first adult. And I said, I looked at the pan and said, Hilda, did you fix my pillows? And she had her face, it had a big smile on it in the painting. So I knew it was her. And people, I tell that story, people ask me, does she do dishes? Does she vacuum? I'm like, no, she doesn't do that. And I'm not going to ask her. That would be disrespectful. But she's like a nanny to the spirit children. She loves them and likes to kind of watch out for them when I'm not around. So she's awesome. I love her. She's very peaceful. I've not seen the image in the painting move, like turning her head, but I've seen her face change expressions. And when our team member Wanda was here, she was taking pictures of it. And in every picture, that face was different. One of them was kind of like a smirk, like, what are you taking my picture for?
Well, she was not always very friendly to you, was she? Wasn't she kind of attitudinal?
No, I've had some.
Which one is it that is?
Yeah, there's another painting with the older woman hanging in
yes.
The room. I don't think she likes men, but she hasn't bothered me. She just won't talk to me. She won't answer my questions on Spirit Box. I know she's there. But it seems like the guy that owned her collected paintings, and he gave her to me because his wife didn't want that painting in the house anymore. It made her sick every time she walked by it or looked at it.
Physically sick?
Yeah, she felt nauseous.
Ugh.
And he never felt that. And it was always whenever women were there, they would like, oh, that painting gives me the willies. But it never affected men. But then I found out when I had a sensitive look at it, she said, well, I don't know about the women getting sick, but I know she doesn't like men. Her husband was very mentally abusive to her and didn't want her to have her portrait painting done. But her grandson was an artist, and she decided to defy him and have her painting done. and that's why she looks so cocky in the picture.
Well, she
And
does, and she doesn't always look very aloof, but when there's a bunch of people in there, she does.
yeah,
Like she's got no time to be bothered. But she
I know.
doesn't look like that all the time.
No, I know she doesn't like the cat because Maddie went in there. She has to go in there and sniff around, check out the dolls, and I think the painting is hanging on a wall with a sturdy nail.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard this crashing noise, and there's nothing there for my cat to get up there and knock it down. But the cat, I mean, right away came racing out of that room and ran away into my bedroom. That's where she goes to hide when she's scared. And I went in there, and that painting, not only had it come off the wall, but it was almost halfway across the room. It didn't just fall, it came off that wall. And I think she didn't like the cat being close to the painting. So Maddie doesn't go over there very often anymore. Room.
I don't blame her because that is a sweet cat, and that had to trip her out. Considering that she lives in a house full of spirits, she's remarkably well balanced.
Yeah, she loves she every time I get a box with something in it, she's right there on the counter wanting to watch me open it and sniff it out. And the few bad things I've gotten, she wouldn't come near it until I blessed it. But yeah, the majority of these items have very positive spirits, and she doesn't mind. I like it when and I have pictures out there on some of those story videos on the YouTube channel. Every one of those stories has a picture of where I have the item on the couch, and the cat, she's always curled up next to them and goes to sleep. And so she's very comfortable around them, and I guess they love cats because they don't mind her being around.
Well, cats are a very easy animal for them to love, I think, because they're relatively low keyed as a rule. Mature cats are. And
Yes. Yeah, I've heard, cats are very sensitive. I know mine is.
she is.
That doll I'd gotten sent to me from Baton Rouge that had the lady owned it said it was causing her and her roommate that they were getting scratched. They were having violent nightmares, and she woke up with the feeling of a hand on her throat trying to choke her one morning.
Oh, gracious.
That's why and that was another one. She didn't ask for any money. She just shipped that sucker to me. It was, once again, the one that came express. I mean, she was wanting to get rid of that. And that's the one that I was blessing. In the middle of my blessing, I was splashing the water on it, the holy water. And whatever it was got ticked off because the crucifix was hanging on my neck. And it just, the rope it was hanging on just tore, it just ripped, like somebody yanked it off of me, and it fell to the floor. And one thing I know, you can't panic or have fear. They eat that stuff up,
Yes,
and that's
do.
what it wanted me to stop and be afraid. Well, I reached down and picked up that crucifix, and I put it right on the doll.
And I kept going. You go.
Yeah, and I kept going, and the cat stayed clear out of the room. And when I usually I'll keep going till I feel better about it. When I feel, and I was nauseous the whole time. I get nauseous around those evil things. Mm-hmm. And I was nauseous before I even brought her in the house when the package arrived. And the nausea went away, and I felt better. The air lifted, and finally the cat came back in the room. So I said, okay, I think it's fine now. And I put her in that container she's in, and I poured holy water all in there and sealed it up. And I haven't taken her out. I've got her on the highest shelf in there, so nobody will mess with her.
Well, and that's good to know.
Yeah. And if you remember, she has a way. We had our last grill out here. I didn't get to do one this year, but last year when we had it, Darius, one of our team members, was begging to take her home. I'm like, no. I think she was kind of.
He did not want to take her home. Seriously.
I hope he would. I mean, he was begging. I kind of worried. I said, I hope she's not pushing at him, because I wouldn't, it wouldn't surprise me.
Well, that's why, because he does not care for haunted objects, and he does not care for dolls because of the haunted object dolls. So to me, that just sounds like it may have been messing with him a bit.
Yeah, that's what I felt like. That kind of worried me. I was like, no, you don't know. I can't let her know. I say, get away from her.
Well, because in all honesty, he's the one that I'm going to be really surprised since you have the walking doll and then the new doll also.
Yeah,
You know, he doesn't care for those.
that last one I posted pictures of. It's kind of a zombie looking doll. That's just a Halloween prop. So, but she might get haunted one day. Who knows? But
Well, she does look. She would give me pause if I ran across her in a dark room.
yeah, she's very effective.
Yes, she is. But you know, and in all fairness, Ladarius is a great investigator. He's an empath, and he is very experienced. All of our team is fairly well trained. I think we do a great job,
Yeah,
and you know, and he's been part of our team longer than I have, so that's saying something. It's pretty great,
yeah,
and but he just does not care for haunted objects, period. Not just the dolls, but any haunted object that he's aware of. I think he reads them.
yeah. Both he and Blaine are pretty good about picking up on the spirits that are with them.
Yes. And, you know, we're about to have to go to a quick break, but one of the things that I wanted to ask you relevant to and we're going to touch on some of your more unusual dolls too, but the walking doll. I know that Sherry Sheen does a lot of the readings of the dolls that you get, but the walking doll was so interesting. When we come back from break, I'm going to want to know about how that came about and
Okay,
about her spirit too, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Awesome. Well, we'll be back in 2 minutes, and guys, I'm telling you, Kevin has such a vast collection. We could go on for days, but sadly, we're going to have to cut through the chase and get to some of these. He even has dolls from the Island of the Dolls, and he's going
Yeah.
to tell us about those in just about 2 minutes. Be back.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
And just like that, we are back. Welcome back to Fate Magazine Radio. I am Kat Hobson, your new host, with my guest Kevin Cain. And you're going to tell us about your your new walking doll and her story, and then we're going to move on to some very unusual spirited dolls that you have.